I'm Angie Beto with Town Square Buzz, and I'd like to welcome you to today's segment of Town Talk. We're with Steve Bell, who is running for City Council at large position. And Steve, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
We're glad to take a little bit of time and see what's on your mind as we talk about our city's issues. Tell us a little bit about who Steve Bell is. For those there are many people we know, some of us know that you were on City Council before. However, a lot of people don't know you because our population has grown. So what would you say to them?
Well, you know, it's really hard to talk about yourself, you know, but we have a saying back home, it's a sorry dog that won't wag his own tail. So I guess I will have to tell you a few things. I'll be 68 years old in August.
68 years young?
68 years young. I feel young. I don't feel any older than 21, you know, quite honestly. Playing baseball tomorrow night with a bunch of 30-year-olds. But, you know, I've been married for 46 years to the same girl. We have 3 children. Both live in McKinney. I had a son who was killed in 1988 in an automobile accident.
Oh.
And you know, one of those trying events in your life. You know, it's one of the things you never get over it, but you do learn how to cope with it. Moved to the Collin County area in 1974 from Houston, where we grew up, where my wife and I met.
I see.
25 years in Plano, active in sports and PSA and that type of thing. All my children went to high school there. And then moved to McKinney around 1995 and have been here ever since. Fell absolutely in love with the little country atmosphere and the amenities of the city, and eventually moved our businesses here a couple of years later from Plano. And we've been here ever since and just absolutely love it.
And so what have you done in your background, both business and political, that makes you the best candidate for City Council at large?
Well, one is my business experience. I've been in telecommunications since 1970. I've been management and vice presidents and presidents of public and private companies. And so I'm a self-starter. I have drive. I don't need to be told what to do. I see a job that needs to be done and I ask why someone's not doing it. If I can't, you know, get somebody to do it, then I'll do it myself. And what got me involved in the city was in 1998, due to the thoroughfare plan. They wanted to put a loop around McKinney, and part of that thoroughfare plan was to come right through the middle of Stonebridge and on Ridge Road. And so we just didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. So I organized probably the largest public meeting that has ever been held in McKinney over at Glen Oaks Elementary School. We had in excess of 900 people come. And to talk about the thoroughfare plan and how we should address it and what could we do. And from that meeting, we were able to have meetings with the city manager and the mayor and city staff and planning to discuss that. And so what ended up happening is they appointed me to the thoroughfare plan committee and spent a year rewriting that and went to an obvious route that I think, which is Custer Road. That should be the outer boundary. That's going to be a 6-lane road or more anyway. And it just made more sense that you would divert that traffic from a planned development to the outskirts of the city limits. You know, and then we worked extremely hard, and then got the pleasure of of doing that and completing it and presenting it to council. In the meantime, the elections started coming up, and people were just encouraging me to run to represent District 4, in which I did, and then I won, and then actually had the pleasure of adopting the resolution when I was on council. So, and that thoroughfare plan is still in effect today. And so that was the start.
And here you are.
And here I am.
A few years later.
Yeah. Since that time, I tell you, my tenure on council was was really good. It was a good and bad experience because so many times I felt like I was by myself, in standing up for certain things. Like for instance, we had swimming pools everywhere but on the east side. And then by east side I'm talking east of Highway 5. And so through the initiative that I had in working with Councilman Garza at the time,
right,
we were able to get a pool built over there and to be able to persuade the other council people to vote in our favor to do that. While I was on council, we were able to adopt a architectural standards, a tree ordinance, and then I was able to revise that tree ordinance so that we could fit it for commercial aspect to reduce some of the cost to make it more feasible, because we needed to figure out ways to attract commercial business here.
Right.
To get that done, I'm actually probably responsible for some of the things that happened to the city manager because of some issues that had come up in forcing that termination of him.
You're talking about
Isaac Turner at that time.
Okay.
No, not Larry Robinson. Larry Robinson was our appointee for that point. And then also on council too, I was very privileged to be able to vote for the hiring for the fire chief and Mark Wallace and also Doug Kowalski in that period of time. But and work on the lake initiatives with Bill Whitfield. Many other projects throughout that we think changed the face of our city at that time. In implementing a moratorium on apartments, out of planned developments, putting them on the outskirts of the city, not to exceed 10% of the population.
Why did you think that was so important?
I thought it was so important because of two things. One, I don't think that you should have an overpopulation of apartments in planned developments anywhere in the city. I think that the apartments need to be closer to the amenities that are offered, for easy shopping and so forth, and the ability to come in and out. Because when you have an apartment complex that's got 300, 400, 500 apartments, it generates an awful lot of traffic.
Right.
And so what's the best way to divert that? Is to put it where the restaurants are, where the grocery stores and that type of thing, and bring it around the higher traffic areas around the perimeter of the city. The other thing that we did was to led and spearheaded the defeat of Southwest Housing when they wanted to put the affordable housing back over here behind Home Depot.
Right.
And as you know, McKinney has more of that than any other city in Collin County. And it turns out that I took the right stand on that, though it was a battle. But Protastnik now is in jail. He was the one that led Southwest Housing. He was the one we were dealing with
Interesting
here.
How things turn out.
It is funny how it turns out.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I really enjoyed doing was assisting John Wales, who now owns Wales Manor, in lobbying for him in Austin with some of our state senators and so forth to be able to have wine sales on the square and to be able to have a wine store for our winemakers.
Right.
And that was a fun thing. And you go up to the square today, you can see how many people enjoy that.
Big change for our city.
It's a big change when you see Landon and Rick's and the Texas wine and the people sitting on the patio, enjoying themselves on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. It's just a great asset for the.
It is.
For
it's
the
what
county.
makes us unique by nature, I think.
I guess my biggest disappointment that I had when I was on council was when we had Pizza Hut Park with Lamar Hunt. And Pizza Hut Park was going to go in at 121 and Alma. And we voted 7-0 as a council to do that. And then for some reason we decided that maybe we needed a performing arts center instead of Pizza Hut Park, and another vote was taken and I lost that 4-3. And again, I hate to say I was right, but go to Pizza Hut Park today, look at the concerts, look at the sellouts that they have, look at Dallas FC that's there playing. We could have had all that right here in McKinney. And we were a finalist for Dr. Pepper Park.
Yes.
With Southwest Sports Group.
Yes.
But sometimes when you come in and you bring vision and plans, you run into some opposition for whatever it may be. And what I'm hoping is that we can get away from personal agendas, you know, on council. We can look at what vision is and establish a plan and provide all the amenities that our citizens expect us to have here. I mean, you know, we're the fifth best place in the United States to live. Now we need to bring everything that we have up to that same standard.
So you mentioned personal agendas.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that's an issue with our council?
I'm not so sure with the one here. I think the current sitting council has done a very nice job. Matter of fact, I applaud them for the hiring of Jason Gray. Mm-hmm. Jason and I had an opportunity to work together very early when he first joined Frisco in some projects that we were working on. One was trying to work out a trade with school district boundaries and so forth over at Craig Ranch. But Jason worked under a great guy, George Purefoy.
And for those who may not know, Mr. Gray is our new city manager.
He's the new city manager, new on the job on Monday.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the best things that have happened to us, because we've got a guy now who has helped promote a city like Frisco, when it was nothing but the dirt roads there, as you very well know, into just a tremendous tax base, a great place to live, and he did that all under the tutelage of George Purefoy.
So he has that experience.
He has experience, and that's the reason people like Salina wanted him. Yeah. And I was thrilled to death when they finally brought him up, even though our consultant didn't recommend him, but thank goodness that Brian did, our mayor, and he went out and talked to him, and it was the right choice to make.
Yes, we will see how that goes, won't we, as the future
yes, we will
be able to tell us. Mm-hmm. So you've talked a little bit about your accomplishments as a councilman. Let's talk about you as a person for a moment, Mr. Bell. What do you think is your greatest personal strength that you would bring to the table? If you're elected, you will be one of 7, including the mayor, who will be sitting around that table. And what do you see as your greatest personal strength that you would bring to that team?
I think the greatest one is I'm consistent.
Okay.
I fashioned myself as Paul is my role model in the New Testament, of being the same on Monday as he is on Tuesday, as Wednesday, Thursday, throughout the week. I think consistency is a big issue. I think being straightforward is an issue. Okay. I think doing the popular thing is not always the right thing. I'm held to a high accountability, and I'm responsible for the things that I do, for the things that I don't do, the things that I know that I should have done and I didn't do them. And there's this accountability aspect. I have a number of men in our community that hold me accountable every day that I meet with for accountability, to make sure that I'm doing the right things. You know, J.C. Watts, one of my dear friends, who's the councilman from Oklahoma, said doing what is right is when no one else is looking. That's what character is all about. It's always about doing the right thing. And unfortunately, people misunderstand what the right thing is sometimes. But you've got to stay the course in doing what is right, because I believe that if you're doing the right things for our citizens, you're going to do the right things for the city.
So in that sentence, doing what is right, would that be your campaign platform that you would want, or the message that you would want to share with your voters?
Yeah, that I'm the voters' voice. I don't have any allegiance to anything but the voters. I'm not a landowner, I'm not in real estate, I'm not in banking, I'm not in all of these things. I don't even sell anything here in the city of McKinney. I mean, I just, I concentrate on what is good. I mean, when I look and I see families out on the street, what can we do to improve their enjoyment of life? How do we protect them? How do we provide them with the services that they need to have? How can they be as proud of the city as I'm proud of the city?
Right.
Now, do we have our faults? Sure we do. Are we making headway? I think that we are. And one of the steps is with Jason Gray. I mean, I was just looking at some studies the other day. It wasn't but about 3 years ago, we were 4th in ISO standards. Our police chief and our fire chief and our emergency responders and all the people that have worked so hard and worked long hours now to make a 2-point jump. Now we're number 2.
Yes.
What that means is that every time we go up, our home insurance and that type of thing drops. So it makes it more affordable for our people to live.
Absolutely.
And we just need to be prudent and good stewards of our dollars that we have. Do we have some programs here in our city that we are spending money on that we shouldn't be? Probably. Do we need to go through those and look at them? Yes. When we're in an economic stress, the way that our country is today and the way cities and school districts are, you need to look at every possible avenue to be able to save dollars. And I don't mean that in such a way that we need to reduce our personnel.
Right.
But there are areas that I'm sure of that we have a little bit of fat here and there that we can take and cut out and bring all that to the bottom line so that we can improve on all of our services. And making sure that the personnel that we do have are paid properly, that they're meeting the standards of like cities the way that we are. We shouldn't be the training ground for our police and our fire department to allow them to go to another city and make higher pay. Because it's honestly, it's quite expensive to train all these people. We train them
and they leave, so
we need to get them up in the parity of where Frisco, Allen, and some of the other cities are. I mean, right now we're kind of on parallel with Princeton. And why is Princeton police officers competitive with McKinney Priceville when they're an eighth the size of McKinney? But why are we below Frisco and Allen and Fairview and
we should be competitive.
The other city, and we should. And I think with the tools that our guys have had, they've done an excellent job. But the new ranking, we're 51st in the safest city in the United States in relationship to overall crime. Well, I would like to see that parallel our fifth best place to to live, and that should kind of go hand in hand. But you need the personnel and you need the vehicles and so forth to do it, and the right type of tax dollars to be able to build on that. Which runs us to another issue that I'm sure you're going to ask me about economic development and so forth.
Let's hold that thought a moment. Thank you so much for being with us today. That concludes part 1 of our interview with Steve Bell, who is running for City Council at-large position. Please check back with us at Town Square Buzz, and as we continue to delve into the issues that affect the city of McKinney.